Welcome to Greek Verse a Day. Today we're translating Revelation 2:3, a nice short verse here. You should be looking at your reader's edition if you have it handy, using the screen as a guide here. Let's go ahead and do our slow reading and then move to a faster reading. Kai hupamonein ekes kai ebastasos dia ta anima mu kai u ke kapeake. All right, a little bit faster this time. Kai hupamonein ekes kai ebastasos dia ta anima mu kai u ke kapeake. All right, at this point, go ahead and pause. Take a look at your Greek Reader's Edition. See what you can make of this short sentence before unpausing, and I jump in to help you out with the translation and the grammar. All right, so we can divide this sentence up by the different verbs that are in it. So in this case, we have three different indicative verbs here. We have ekes, we have ebastasos, and then we have ke kapiake. And so you notice that sort of each phrase is also divided up by a chi here. So if I were to put sort of big boxes around it, it might help us, might help us see the different clauses that are at play here. And we'll just take each one at a time. So remember, John here is writing to the angel over the church at Ephesus. So we're going to have second person singulars when it comes to verbs of what that angel is doing, or namely what that congregation is doing that is represented by the angel. So our first second person singular is going to be ekes right here. It's the present active indicative, second person singular from echo. So you have, and then the object of what you have is hupamonein, a word that we've seen a couple of times in Revelation as we've been translating, meaning endurance. So, and you have endurance. Kai ebastasos. This time we move from the present, so here we have a present verb, to the aorist. In here, an aorist active indicative, second person singular from, and I'm just going to write down the lexical form, from bastadzo. Oh, can't see my omega there because I'm going off the screen. Bastadzo. And notice here that we lose the zeta when the sigma alpha is added. So a zeta plus a sigma, we're going to just have a sigma. So the zeta drops out there. And this is you bore up, or you bared, and sort of we'd like to maybe have an object to what was born after this, presumably something like trials or tribulations, but we don't. John doesn't give us that. And you bore up because of my name. And I'm going to just check and see what you get. Endure. That's what we get in the Greek Reader's Edition. Much more eloquent than my bore up here. You endured because of, or on account of my name. And then our last clause here, so notice we have a present, an aorist, and then we get a perfect. So John is sort of changing up our indicative tenses here, and we know we have a perfect because of our reduplication. That's going to be our strong hint to the perfect tense here. And then also the kappa right here of the tense formative as well. And it looks like in my printing of this here, I have left out the sigma. I must have cut that off somehow. So we should have a sigma there, which is important to tell us the person and the number, namely second person singular. So our parsing information for this one is going to be perfect, active, indicative, second singular from kapiao, which is related. This verb is related to a noun we saw earlier in just a few verses earlier for labor or toil. And if you remember in that video, I said that kapos is a little bit more of a gritty word than ergon is. Remember, ergon is work. Kapos is also has a sense of work, but it's more labor or toil. It has the more sense of blood, sweat, and tears. And the same is true for kapiao here, that it has that sense of laboring, and sort of with that sense of laboring, you get what you find in the reader's edition, and that's why I'm looking down here. I apologize for not looking up at you. You get the grow weary. So if you're doing kapos, if you're doing that hard labor, that the kapiao is growing weary from that hard labor. And so what John is saying here is you have not grown weary. And so with the perfect tense, remember what we have is past action that continues into the present time. So the action happened in the past and continues. So what John is saying here, or what he's addressing to the congregation in Ephesus, is that you have not grown weary in the past, and you continually into the present you still have not grown weary. So to put our three different clauses together for a full translation here, we have and you have endurance, and you endured. So even though we're using the same endurance and endured, notice that these are not the same. They're not from the same root here. But in English, it's harder for us to bring out that these are not the same word, because they do have sort of similar connotations. So sorry, jumping back. We'll start my putting it back together over again. And you have endurance, and you endured because of my name, and you have not grown weary.